Imagine this. It's 11:30 at night. Sarah is sitting alone in her car outside her apartment, gripping the steering wheel. Her phone keeps lighting up with messages. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Please come inside." Just 2 hours earlier, the man she loved had called her worthless during another argument. It wasn't the first time. Last month, he had promised it would never happen again. 6 months ago, he had apologized with flowers. A year ago, he had sworn he was changing. Sarah wasn't wondering whether he loved her. She was asking herself a different question. At what point does love stop being enough? That night, she realized something many people discover only after years of pain. Love isn't supposed to cost your peace. And that's exactly what we're talking about today: hard limits and absolute deal breakers. These are the boundaries that protect your dignity, your mental health, and sometimes even your life. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the strongest relationships aren't built on endless compromise. They're built on knowing where compromise ends. The line many of us believe. Most of us grow up hearing that love conquers all. If you love someone enough, you'll work through anything. You'll forgive. You'll sacrifice. You'll stay. At first, that sounds beautiful. Until you realize that some people hear those words as permission to cross every boundary you have. There's an old saying: when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Yet many of us don't. We believe the apology instead of the pattern. We believe the promise instead of the behavior. We believe the potential instead of the reality. And that's where heartbreak begins. What is a hard limit? Think about driving across a bridge. Along the sides are guardrails. They're not there because engineers expect every driver to crash. They're there because if something goes wrong, those rails keep you from falling off the edge. Hard limits work the same way. They aren't walls that keep people away. They're guardrails that keep you safe. A hard limit is a boundary that says, if this happens, I walk away. Not because you're cruel. Not because you're giving up. But because staying would cost you something far more valuable than the relationship itself. Your peace. Your safety. Your self-respect. The slow drift. Most unhealthy relationships don't become unhealthy overnight. Imagine placing a frog into cool water. Then slowly raising the temperature. Whether or not that analogy is scientifically accurate, it reflects something emotionally true. People rarely notice small changes happening one at a time. The first insult becomes, they were just stressed. The second becomes, they had a bad day. The third becomes, nobody's perfect. Months later, you're apologizing for things you didn't do. Walking on eggshells. Checking every word before you speak. Wondering how you became a stranger to yourself. That's the danger. People don't usually cross your biggest boundary first. They test your smallest one. Story number 2. Michael had always been proud of being patient. His friends admired how understanding he was. When his girlfriend lied about where she'd been, he forgave her. When she had credit card debt, he forgave her. When she secretly borrowed money from his parents without asking, he forgave her. One evening his father asked him a simple question. Are you forgiving her because she's changing, or because you're afraid she'll leave? The room became silent. Michael realized something painful. He wasn't protecting the relationship anymore. He was protecting the idea of the relationship. Those are two very different things. The most common hard limits. Everyone's list is different. But certain boundaries appear again and again because they protect basic human dignity. Physical violence. No explanation needed. Love should never require fear. Emotional abuse. Words leave invisible scars. Being called stupid. Worthless. Lazy. Crazy. Eventually those words stop sounding like insults. They begin sounding like your own thoughts. Dishonesty. Trust is built in drops, but lost in buckets. Every lie chips away at certainty until you're questioning everything. Infidelity. Some couples rebuild, others don't. The important part isn't what everyone else chooses. It's knowing what your own heart can genuinely live with. Controlling behavior. It often starts small. Why are you wearing that? Who are you texting? I just worry because I love you. Soon you're asking permission for things that never required permission before. Control rarely announces itself. It disguises itself as concern. The cost of ignoring your boundaries. Imagine carrying a backpack. Someone places one small rock inside. No problem. Another rock. Still manageable. Another. 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 Eventually you're exhausted. Not because of one giant rock, but because of hundreds of tiny ones. Ignoring your boundaries works exactly like that. Every time you excuse disrespect, you carry another rock. Every broken promise, another rock. Every insult, another rock. Eventually people wonder why they're emotionally exhausted. It's because they've been carrying weight that was never theirs to carry. Why leaving feels impossible. If unhealthy relationships were unhappy all the time, nobody would stay. The difficult part is that painful relationships usually contain beautiful moments. The vacations, the laughter, the anniversaries, the memories. Those moments become emotional anchors. We remember the best version of someone and hope they'll return. Sometimes they do. Often they don't. Hope is beautiful. But hope without evidence becomes a prison. Boundaries aren't punishments. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings. People hear boundaries and think rejection. But healthy boundaries aren't punishments. Imagine your doctor telling you that you're allergic to peanuts. Avoiding peanuts isn't punishing peanuts. It's protecting yourself. Likewise, ending a relationship because someone repeatedly violates your boundaries isn't revenge. It's self-respect. The relationships that last. Here's something surprising. Healthy couples usually have more boundaries, not fewer. Because they communicate them early. They respect them consistently. Neither person feels responsible for fixing the other. Instead of saying, "You need to change," they say, "This is what I need to feel safe." That's not weakness. That's emotional maturity. Ask yourself these questions. Tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself honestly. What behavior keeps stealing my peace? What have I normalized that shouldn't be normal? If someone I loved were living my relationship, what advice would I give them? Sometimes the answers we give others are the answers we've been avoiding ourselves. A final story. Years after Sarah sat in that car, someone asked her if leaving was the hardest decision she'd ever made. She smiled. "No," she said. "Staying as long as I did was harder." She had mistaken endurance for love. She had confused sacrifice with commitment. But the day she chose herself wasn't the day love ended. It was the day self-respect began. Final thoughts. Your boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. Healthy people knock. Unhealthy people demand entry. You don't owe everyone unlimited access to your heart. Love should feel safe, respectful, honest, supportive. If a relationship consistently costs you your confidence, your peace, your dignity, or your safety, the price is simply too high. Remember this. The people who truly belong in your life won't resent your boundaries. They'll respect them. Because love doesn't ask you to become smaller. Real love gives you the space to become fully yourself. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, let us know in the comments. What's one boundary you wish you had learned to protect sooner? If you found value in today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this reminder today. Until next time, take care of yourself and never underestimate the power of protecting your peace.